One day I will be prepared. But that's all right. Welcome to the Mark Z Drumcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful Monday, the start of a brand new week, the start of all new, fresh possibilities for our lives. And I think today you might notice I was doing a little work over the weekend on my lighting. I kind of like it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I kind of like the lighting right now. And, you know, as is our want on the Mark Z Drumcast, we are always trying to get better. We are always trying to improve what we're doing, improve the product we are putting out there into the world. And what by me, I mean I. Why is my microphone so low right now? Let's give yourselves a little volume and say again, welcome to the Mark Z Drumcast. I'm a couple of shows now removed from the Florida heat. I'm happy to report that back in New York, it is a beautiful 80-something degrees with clear skies, low humidity, and beautiful strong sun. So there's your Mark Z Drums weather report for today. I think I told you on a previous Drumcast that you get a little bit of everything here. You get coffee tips. You get weather reports. You get all kinds of things. Movie reviews. I just watched the Super Mario Brothers movie, and here is my review. It was pretty good. It was fun. And that's all I expected from it, to be fun. And eye candy. The animation was beautiful. So there you have it. Now, what I want to talk about on this podcast is going to change the way you look at drumming, change the way you look at drum covers, and change the way you think about certain things that have become iconic in drumming. Now, maybe not change the way you think. Listen, I'm being a little dramatic here, but it'll certainly make you think, because I had a sort of an epiphany or an aha moment, but more on that later. I recently fulfilled a request that had been kind of taking me a while. And there's a couple of reasons. I have a lot of requests piling up. I'm trying to get to family and friends first, but a lot of other requests are coming through. And if you go to my channel and look at my list of videos, or you can go to my Mark Z Drums drum cover playlist, you'll see all of the different drum covers that I have. And I have a lot of great ideas for some drum covers coming up. But the way I see drum covers and the way I approach drum covers now is a bit different. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on the most recent drum cover I uploaded, which is Tom Sawyer by Rush. One of the reasons maybe that it took me a longer time, as I make some adjustments here, but don't mind me. One of the reasons why it may have taken me longer to do this particular drum cover is because Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush, the band who wrote and recorded Tom Sawyer, Neil Peart is a hero of mine. And he continues to be, even though he has sadly passed away, left us too soon, but he remains and continues to be a hero of mine. And what I realized recently, doing this drum cover, was that he continues to be an influence of mine as well. It doesn't matter if people are here or not. They continue to influence us by the things they've left behind, the memories we have of them. You know, and we are blessed in this day and age to be able to look back on interviews and live performances and instructional videos that they have put out. I've recently been watching Neil Peart's instructional series. When he passed, I went and I looked at a bunch of interviews that he did and really found out more about him as a person as well as a drummer. So when I uploaded my cover of Tom Sawyer, it had taken me a little while, and I decided to do it with the memories I had of the song. I didn't really, and this is true of a lot of the covers that I put up, I don't really want to over practice it. Not over practice it, I don't really like that term, but I didn't really want to work on it too much. I wanted it to be more organic. I wanted it to be more from the heart. I wanted it to come from my memories and the feelings that I had listening to the song when I was young, when I was being influenced by it, when it was helping to shape me as a drummer coming up. So in this particular instance, and I'm still debating in my head, and leave your comments in the comment section if you're not, if you have an opinion on this, on what I'm about to say. If you have an opinion on what I'm about to say, please leave it in the comment section below, because I'm still kind of trying to think of this myself. I'm still trying to decide how I want to approach future drum covers. Do I want to spend time figuring out every hit, every note, every nuance of a song, or do I want to perform the song organically, listen to it, feel it, and play? So let me know what you guys think. I'm back and forth on it. I'm 50-50 on it. I'm on the fence about it. And one of the reasons why is because I have a lot of students that want to learn how to play songs. And I have a certain amount of them that want to learn to play these songs note for note, perfectly in every way. And I have other students who are not so set on playing note for note, but they want to know the major parts of the song. They want to know how to do, the overall feel of the song. They want to know how to play the fills, but maybe are not as interested in playing them exactly. I've also talked about this on other shows because some of those same students are in bands, whether they be the student bands at the schools or maybe bands of their own, or bands that they've put together with friends from school or whatever, what have you. And I have a couple of them that are even in family bands where, dad plays guitar, mom plays keyboards, whatever. There's a lot of talented people and a lot of talented families out there. So having some students that are in bands in the schools, this opportunity comes up a lot because they're learning cover songs. So we talk about what it is to play a cover song, what it means to do a cover song, and how we should approach cover songs. When we're playing cover songs for ourselves, it's a little bit different than preparing a cover song for a performance in front of an audience. Cover songs, by nature, carry with them a certain expectation with the audience. When you go, and think about this for yourself, if you ever go to see cover bands, are you going with a certain expectation of hearing what you're used to hearing? Are you going there to hear the songs that you love and you loved listening to exactly as they were recorded, or are you a little bit less, or are you not looking for note to note, note for note renditions? And what I always tell my students is, when people come to see your band performing cover songs, a lot of times they have their own expectations, and they may not even be aware of it. So, for example, an audience goes to see your band playing a cover song or a cover set, and they leave the show maybe one of two ways. And there's a lot of in between here, but maybe one of two ways. One way, they may leave the show going, oh, they were okay. You know, they were pretty good. Another time, they may leave your show saying, wow, those guys were really good. So what's the difference? If you're playing cover songs, I think the difference is accuracy. The difference is how accurately you portray those songs to the audience. And knowing what is iconic about the song and what is not is very, very important if you're trying to put together a really good cover set of songs. Cover songs, when audience members go to watch your band play cover songs, there are certain things that they will expect to hear. And I'm going to talk about this part moving forward as well. If you're playing In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, if you don't know the song, look it up. It's an iconic song with an iconic drum part in it. I will call it an in-song drum solo. Or maybe in this case, a drum fill. But it has become iconic over the years because of the way it sounds. Not because of its technical complexities, but because of the way it sounds. It has become iconic. So if you're going to perform In the Air Tonight, you need to do that right. You need to do that drum part exactly right, because everybody's waiting to hear it. And the idea of the song is it builds, it builds, it builds. It takes a long time to get to that part. But as people became familiar with the song, that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for that one drum fill. No matter how long the intro is, the beginning of the song, they don't really care about that. They're waiting for that one iconic drum fill. And then after that fill, there are a couple of more that are less important, to be exact, right? So that's the difference between an iconic drum fill and a not so iconic drum fill. The difference between a drum fill that absolutely needs to be there and done right, and afterwards drum fills that less so need to be done exactly right. If you nail that fill, people are going to go, wow, that was great. If you don't nail it or don't pay attention to it or play it differently, people are going to be underwhelmed. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. When we're playing songs, there are certain iconic drum parts in songs. Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. The opening part, the ending part. Huge, huge iconic drum parts in a song that if you're going to play the song, you got to play it right. That's going to be the difference between your audience going, wow, they were great, or they were okay. Tom Sawyer, another iconic in-song drum solo, I would call it. It's a series of fills. It's one whole part that pretty much everybody waits for. When the song starts, everybody's anticipating that part. Oh, wow, I wonder what that's going to sound like. So that's another song where if you put that on your set list in your cover band, you need to get it right, because people are going to be listening for that. There's a lot of different parts in that song that I think have become iconic, especially for drummers. But for the general audience listening to your cover band, that break, that drum break, absolutely needs to be nailed. What else? I said In the Air Tonight. There are a bunch of them. And so I'm trying to think. If you have any other iconic drum fills within a song, or drum solos within a song, drum breaks within a song that have become iconic, leave them in the comment sections below. I would love to hear your take on it. I can't come up with any more right now. But basically, the point of this whole Mark Z Drumcast is that I want to talk about what I learned from performing my drum cover of Tom Sawyer by Rush. Written and performed by the legendary Neil Peart, no longer with us. But what I realized is that I'm still being influenced by the man to this day. And that I still had feelings coming up playing that song. And I may have hesitated to do this drum cover because of that. And then I realized something else. So while I know the song well and decided to play this drum cover kind of from my memories, I also had the urge to kind of play it exact. Maybe because I feel like there's an expectation out there that if I'm going to do a drum cover, I better do it exact. And what ended up happening was I did the drum cover to the best of my abilities right now without spending a lot of time practicing it, working on it, trying to get everything right. I did want to just have it be organic. And overwhelmingly, the feedback has been positive. And a lot of people saying very kind things and nice things about what I did. And I appreciate that very, very much. Because at the end of the day, I'm not, I'm a drummer, I'm a teacher, I'm a person, I'm a musician. I'm somebody who is constantly trying to get better myself in my craft. But I love what I do. I'm not trying to set the world on fire. I'm not claiming to be the best in the world. I just do what I do, and if people enjoy it, then I appreciate that. That's great. And that's why I love to perform. When I'm performing on stage and I look out at a crowd of people that are enjoying themselves and having fun, that's all I need. That's all I need. Now, sometimes I tend to focus on the one person sitting in the corner with their arms crossed, but that's just a musician thing. I think a lot of people would identify with that. But seeing people reacting to what I'm doing, what the band is doing, what we're doing as a whole, that's what it's all about for me. So when I put up a drum cover, it's more about me just enjoying my performance, putting it out there into the world, and if anybody enjoys it, that's great. If anybody, has negative things to say, that's great too. I'm always looking for feedback, and I take in everything that is said to me, and I think about it. Always trying to improve, always trying to get better. So the song Tom Sawyer by Rush, it is a song that has set the standard for drummers around the world for decades, myself included. When you're coming up, if you grew up in my generation and you hear the song, and I'm sure now, right, because a lot of my students are younger, they're not of my generation, but they are still being influenced by Tom Sawyer. They're still being influenced by Neil Peart. They're still setting that bar for themselves against this song. Can I play that song, And I hear so many of my students wanting to learn it, trying to play it, playing it in the student bands in the schools. So yes, it was and still is the standard bearer for a lot of young drummers coming up. And I remember when I was in high school and I was learning to play the song, and I learned to play the song, and I could play the song, that it was kind of a milestone for me. I have since moved away from Rush in general. I still think they're an amazing band, and they still have held a lot of influence over me in my upbringing, and still are a huge part of my DNA and who I am as a musician and performer today. But I moved in a different direction musically as far as my musical taste, what I listen to, but still holds the standard, right? So when I thought about playing these covers note for note, I said, yeah, I could do that. But I realized after all this time that it's not so much about learning to play Tom Sawyer note for note as it is about celebrating the creation of those drum parts and celebrating the person who wrote and performed that song, recorded that song, and then went on to perform it, I don't know how many thousands of times throughout his career live. And when he performed it live, did he play it the same way all the time? I don't think he did. So my point is that I think cover songs and covering music as a tribute to an artist or a band I think it's cool. I think it's a great thing. But I think the celebration for me has become about the creativity of the artists themselves that I'm covering, excuse me, and trying to inject my own creativity into it. What is the song motivating me to do on the drums? So while it's not exact, it's what I felt at the time. And it is a celebration of the song, the drum part, Neil Peart himself, and the creativity that went into that. So as a drummer, I strive to not, I'm not striving to be able to play things note for note, but I'm striving to have the creativity and have the ability to come up with iconic drum parts that are interesting, are fun, that make people feel something, you know. And if I'm lucky enough ever in my life, or any of us are lucky enough ever in our lives to write and record such an iconic drum break, or in-song drum solo, or extended in-song fill, as Neil Peart did with Tom Sawyer. And of course, so many other drum parts in so many other songs, which made him the legend that he became, and the influence that he became over so many drummers in the world. If I am lucky enough to do that, or even, and I'm not really laughing, but even In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, which still baffles me to this day, how huge that song became because of those drums. Now, maybe at the time, those big ambient sounding drums, which were electronic, those big ambient sounding drums, maybe that wasn't something that was heard a lot of in music. But it's so funny too, and maybe also because it was such a drum part that could really translate to everybody, because it's something that everybody can do, right? Everybody can air drum In the Air Tonight. Maybe not necessarily air drum Tom Sawyer, the drum break in there, but everybody can air drum In the Air Tonight. So maybe that's what the appeal was that it was so like, oh wow, yeah, and people love to do that. Not knocking it at all. But again, even John Bonham, rock and roll. So many iconic drum parts that have come up in the world. So if I'm striving for anything, it's to have the creativity, the vision, the technical ability to make interesting, cool drum parts that enhance the music I'm playing with. And maybe I'll go in that direction. When I do drum covers for my channel, maybe I will kind of do more of my own thing, my own ideas, and see what people think. I'm in no way trying to improve on anything that I'm working on as far as drum covers. That would not be the goal. But just to, again, test my own creativity and see what I come up with. So thank you, Neil Peart, a legend, a huge influence, and he continues to be a huge influence. I'm just reading some notes here. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to say. As you can see now, right, I'm trying to be a little more prepared for the Mark Z Drumcast. And again, what you see is what you get. Like I said, I don't, when I'm playing songs, and everything you see on this channel moving forward is 100% me. There is no pretense. It's just about, hey, I want to come out here. I want to play drums. I love playing the drums. Let me do it online. Let me see if anybody can be influenced by it, if anybody can learn anything, if anybody can get anything out of what I have to offer. I have a lot of experience, as I've said before. I have a lot of knowledge. I've been doing this a long time. Since I'm about 16, I'm playing in bands. I'm playing drums since about 7. And I'm always trying to improve. And every time I learn something, I try to pass it on to either my students or you guys who are watching the Drumcast, anybody that tunes into my channels, my TikTok, my YouTube. I'm going to try to pass it on. And so this is what I learned today, or the other day, when I played the drum cover of Tom Sawyer. I learned that it's not about playing it perfectly. It's about celebrating the person who created those drum parts, and the fact that when they did create those drum parts, they created something far bigger than a drum part. A movement, um, a wave of influence that swept across the world and began to influence drummers of all ages at the time and continues to influence drummers today. So that's a very, very incredible thing in the world of drumming. If you're a drummer, if you love drumming, if you know people that love drumming, if you love people that love drumming, that song has touched you in some way. So, yeah, check out my cover. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's up on my channel. There's actually two, I don't want to say two versions. It's posted twice. Same version, same thing. The title is a little different. That happened because I'm not sure why it looks the way it does. I don't like the way it looks up on YouTube, but on my computer it looks good. On my phone it does not. On my Apple TV it does not. It's kind of a weird problem that I'm trying to work on now. But in an attempt to correct that kind of washed out looking video, I ended up uploading it again in a different way that really did not fix the problem. So all it did was add a second version of the same video, but that's okay. I'm going to leave it up because both videos are getting views, and however you find it, you find it. But go ahead to my YouTube channel, Mark Z Drums on YouTube. After the live, head on over there, you know, and check out this video. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you think. And go ahead and check out my other covers as well. You'll notice a trend, like I said, that I like to just sit down and when the moment hits me, boom, I'm gonna do this drum cover. And then sometimes if it's a song I'm not familiar with, I might spend a little bit of time. Obviously, I'll spend a little bit of time getting familiar with the parts so that I could play through it, but maybe not exactly right. So check that out. I'm taking requests on my Patreon page. If you head on over there and you decide to become a member, then you will have access to our Discord server where you can chat with me and anybody else in the community, and we can exchange ideas and ask questions and answer questions and support each other. You will also be able to request a drum cover, which will be uploaded to my Patreon 24 hours before it hits the internet worldwide. And eventually I will be doing song breakdowns where maybe a song like Tom Sawyer, I will play through it and then talk about the parts and how to break it down for anybody who is trying to learn the song. That might be a great help for some people. The other thing is any other instructional videos that I have going up on YouTube will be debuting on my Patreon first. So you will get early access to any of my new instructional videos, any of my drum covers, anything really that I post up on my YouTube channel. So again, thanks for checking out the Mark Z Drumcast. And it's been a great experience so far doing this, a great experience doing that drum cover and kind of learning what I learned. I hope you got a little bit out of it from what I had to say and my discoveries, what I learned about doing that drum cover. So I will catch you on Wednesday. As you know, the Mark Z Drumcast is now on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays around noon. And also, please check out my other socials. Mark Z Drums across all platforms. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, of course, Patreon, and markzdrums.com for all your drumming needs. I also am working on a drumming course that will be going live very soon. And again, any feedback is welcome. Any questions, any comments, thank you very much. Any likes, any subscribes, any follows, any memberships on Patreon, all of that stuff, super appreciated. So please like, subscribe, comment, follow all of my socials, everything I do.